Cities Skylines 2 is getting better. Modders have been hard at work bringing in new tools for detailing, traffic management, and general quality of life in an attempt to improve the overall experience of the game, and they've done a great job so far. The best new mods are part of a pack called Extra 3.0. I don't know how they've done it, but we have some custom assets, decals, and surfaces in the game, as well as some tools that allow you to place props and fences and modify almost every aspect of buildings. I've spent some time using these decals and surfaces to detail some of the empty spaces in my cities, and it's been a lot of fun, especially paired with the line tool and Find It. It makes creating spaces like this parking lot finally possible. Just look at those decals, the graffiti, the dirt. It's really great work. With the parking lot, I will say that I did have a little bit of issues with the control of the assets. The way that they move and the way that they feel compared to Cities 1 when it comes to placing them down. The rotation is a bit awkward and it feels a bit clunky still. And I think that's just a product of the actual UI of Cities 2 and not really anything that the modders can control or anything like that. And it's more so probably just something that I gotta get used to personally. And if you've played a lot of Cities 1, you'll know what I mean. The rotation just, it doesn't quite hit the same. And Move It, I haven't been able to get it to work right with the props, and that could just be an error on my end. But I know that Move It is a work in progress as well right now. Now, technically you can place cars with Find It, but I find that they always just disappear whenever I put them down. So unfortunately, they don't work unless you've downloaded a pack of actual car props, which I did see on PDX Mods, but I haven't grabbed yet. But that's not all. You can get Better Bulldozer, which allows you to use a setting that will remove only props and other decorative objects from buildings, which can allow you the freedom to fully customize the detailing on any of the buildings in the game. This is a level of functionality that we didn't fully see in Cities 1. The Bob mod came close, but not with this level of power or control. When I removed every single piece of props from the buildings, I left in certain extensions that it says a warning where it'll actually break the asset. So I didn't touch those, but I did remove pretty much everything. And what I do like is when you're placing props, you actually have a snap to surface setting that'll allow you to even place props face up on balconies. So I added my own chairs and benches and grills to the different balconies, which you can really get in depth on all of these surfaces. I'm just doing a little bit here and there for demonstration purposes. I also totally replaced the surface decals that came with these buildings with some of the tile decals, which look nicer. And then the wall decals that came in, some of those are custom. So you've got like the Coca-Cola logo and different types of billboards that I ended up putting on the sides of the buildings. And I can see this being a game changer for a lot of people because it can really help define your space and give you a lot more kind of control to make your city feel a little more unique. And I think that's the big issue with Cities 2, that people haven't really wanted to come back to it because there's no detailing and uniqueness. This really helps solve that problem, even if it's not perfect. It shows the potential that's in the game itself. So for example, I'm detailing up this soccer field and using the snapping tools with the fences. It's a weird, odd-shaped little area that I didn't really have enough room to put anything in. So the fences really give me a way to define the space. Now I am going to use these surfaces that came with one of the packs. I believe this one was created by Sully. It's the Riverbed Wet Dark, but it looks really good and kind of resembles like dirt and mulch and rocks, just something that you would see in kind of a landscaped area. And then of course, with the help of the line tool, I just added some trees in there to give it a little extra pop and make the place feel alive. And with Find It, I was able to find some lights that were totally hidden from the game because in dev mode, they're so hard to find. And those lights really gave it that extra touch to make it feel like sort of this little park space in between the stadium and the other path there. With Better Bulldozer, I could use the setting to actually remove the hedges along the side of the soccer field and then extend my fence around. And that gave a more unified feel and theme to everything so that we don't have the hedges on one end and then that same fence there. It just kind of wraps around. Some modders have been making new assets out of existing prefabs, such as these mixed-use row house zones, which are super versatile, and I plan to use them a ton in the near future. We've also got a new way of managing the endless flow of vehicles in our cities, a mod simply named Traffic. If you played Cities 1 and used the Traffic Manager mod, you're familiar with how lane connections work. But in a nutshell, at any intersection, with the exception of the ploppable roundabouts, you can use the mod to manually control how traffic flows in each lane. The interface is super intuitive and it automatically draws the lines and arrows in the middle to show exactly where each lane leads. If you really want to set up a roundabout, you'll have to build one manually, like this one here. There's a few mods that add in new roads as well, like this one-way, one-lane road, which I used to replace the two-lane alley that was going into the roundabout to make it a bit safer and more logical. I've also found that this 6-lane two-way highway worked quite well to bring in some much-needed lane mathematics into this interchange. While it doesn't have all of the functionality of TMPE, Traffic is a great mod, and it's a lot of fun to solve those little puzzles of traffic jams in your city. If you're waiting for this game to get good, so to speak, especially if you're a detailer, now is definitely the time to give it another chance. But a little word of caution. I've had a hell of a time trying to get PDX mods to work properly and initialize in my game. It's been months, and finally today, with the help of Bad Peanut over at Paradox, I was able to get it into a playable, enjoyable state with mods. And so far, the game seems to be handling it okay. I am having some weirdness with my graphics from time to time, and you do have to restart the game a few times to get mods to work. I personally have a mid-range gaming laptop, so if you've got a decent desktop, you're gonna be fine. But if you're running a potato, sadly, I'd say it's probably best to wait a little longer and stick to Cities 1, which is still an amazing game that can't be beat. I'm also including a full list of Mod Playset that I have currently active. I'll go ahead and show it up here on screen. I still haven't figured out if you can actually share or transfer these, so if anybody knows how to do that, let me know and I'll link it up in the description. Otherwise, take a look at this, pause it if you need to. I'll scroll down really slow, but this is my active mod list for now. Overall, this is enough to bring me back to Cities 2 again, at least casually. While I'm still waiting for true custom assets, if my PC can handle it, I'm working on a new city, and hopefully I'll be able to work on some videos for it in the near future. I will say Paradox Mods is hell to get to work most of the time. You do have to restart your game multiple times, and even then it's not always guaranteed that all the mods are going to load in, and this was a problem that we had hoped it would solve. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but once you actually get into the game, it is quite good. So please, just be patient. I will say I wish this game had Steam Workshop. However, we've got what we've got. And so far, it is getting better, and I love to see that, and I do want this game to succeed. So let me know in the comments. Are you going to give these new mods a try, or have you been playing with them yet? What's your experience been? It'll make your